Tiger Woods is synonymous with dominance, discipline, and control. For more than 2 decades, he has been the most calculated, detail-obsessed competitor golf has ever seen. This is the man who rebuilt his swing multiple times at the peak of his career, who memorized yardages down to the inch, and who treated every rule of golf like sacred law. That's why what happened next still feels almost impossible to believe. Not a blown shot, not a bad bounce, not an injury, but a mistake so basic, so avoidable, and so shockingly uncharacteristic that it led to one of the dumbest disqualifications in golf history. And somehow, the name attached to it wasn't a rookie, an amateur, or a fringe tour pro. It was Tiger Woods. To understand why this moment still stings, you have to understand the pedestal Tiger stood on at the time. By the early 2000s, Tiger wasn't just a golfer. He was the rulebook's biggest enforcer. He had built a reputation for calling penalties on himself, even when no one else noticed. He was known for stopping officials mid-round to double-check rulings. Other players feared accidental infractions because Tiger never bent the rules. If anything, he was stricter with himself than the sport demanded. So, when news broke that Tiger Woods had been disqualified for a rules violation, the golf world didn't just react with shock, it reacted with disbelief. The incident happened during the 2013 Masters tournament at Augusta National, the most sacred stage in golf. Everything about the Masters is built on tradition, precision, and respect for the game. Tiger entered that week under intense pressure. He was chasing another green jacket, trying to reassert his dominance after years of injuries and personal turmoil. Every move he made was under a microscope. And for most of the tournament, things looked normal. Tiger was competitive, he was focused, he was playing like someone who still believed he could win. Then came the moment that changed everything. On the 15th hole during the second round, Tiger Woods hit a shot that would normally be forgettable. His approach struck the flagstick and bounced back into the water. It was unlucky, but not catastrophic. What followed, however, was where the trouble began. Tiger took a drop and played on. At the time, no alarms went off. No officials stopped play. No commentators raised concerns. The round continued as if nothing unusual had happened. Tiger finished the day and even spoke to reporters afterward, casually explaining his drop decision. That explanation is what sealed his fate. In his post-round interview, Tiger calmly stated that he intentionally dropped the ball 2 yards farther back than the original spot to ensure he didn't repeat the same shot and hit the flag again. He said it openly, on camera, without hesitation. And in doing so, he unknowingly confessed to a rules violation. Under golf's rules, Tiger was required to drop the ball as close as possible to the original position, where the previous shot was played. By intentionally moving it back, even by a small margin, he had broken the rule. And because he signed his scorecard without correcting it, the penalty escalated from strokes to outright disqualification. The golf world froze. This wasn't a gray area. This wasn't a complicated loophole. This was one of the most basic principles of the game. And Tiger Woods, the most experienced and disciplined player of his generation, had violated it on the biggest stage imaginable. What made it worse was that the violation wasn't discovered by officials on the course. It was discovered because Tiger explained it himself. He talked himself into a disqualification. The backlash was instant and brutal. Fans were divided. Some argued that Tiger should be disqualified immediately, no exceptions. Others claimed that officials had already reviewed the drop and allowed play to continue, so Tiger shouldn't be punished retroactively. The Masters Committee found itself in an impossible position. If this had been any other player, the ruling would have been straightforward. Disqualification. End of story. But this was Tiger Woods at Augusta, and the world was watching. In an unprecedented move, Augusta officials decided not to disqualify Tiger. Instead, they issued a 2-stroke penalty and allowed him to continue playing. The explanation was that tournament officials had reviewed the drop on Friday night and incorrectly ruled it legal, which protected Tiger from disqualification under Rule 33-7. The decision sent shockwaves through golf. Suddenly, the narrative flipped. What began as Tiger's dumb mistake turned into a full-blown controversy about favoritism, integrity, and whether the rules applied equally to everyone. Critics accused Augusta of bending the rules to protect its biggest star. Former players openly questioned the decision. Analysts called it the worst precedent in modern golf, and fans wondered whether any other golfer would have been given the same leniency. But here's the part that often gets overlooked. Even though Tiger avoided official disqualification, the damage was already done. The moment became symbolic. It shattered the image of Tiger Woods as the flawless rule-following machine. It exposed him as human, fallible, and capable of making a shockingly careless error under pressure. And, perhaps most importantly, it raised a haunting question. If Tiger Woods could make this mistake, what else was slipping? From that point on, the tournament unraveled for him. The two-stroke penalty effectively ended his chances of winning. He finished well off the lead, never truly threatening the top of the leaderboard again. The focus shifted entirely away from his performance and onto the controversy. Every shot he hit afterward felt heavier. Every camera angle lingered longer. The Masters wasn't about winning anymore. It was about survival. And the irony was painful. For years, Tiger had been the face of golf's integrity. He had built his legacy on doing things the right way. Yet here he was, at Augusta, undone not by a bad swing or an impossible lie, but by a mental lapse and a few careless words. The dumbest part wasn't even the drop itself. It was the fact that he explained it so openly, not realizing what he was admitting. Golf insiders still debate whether the Masters should have disqualified him. Some argue that allowing Tiger to continue permanently damaged the tournament's credibility. Others believe Augusta made the right call under the rules as written. But almost everyone agrees on one thing. Tiger never should have been in that position to begin with. This wasn't a young Tiger learning the ropes. This was a veteran, a major champion, a man who had seen everything the game could throw at him. He knew the rules. He respected the rules. And yet, in a split second, he made a decision that violated them in the most avoidable way possible. The moment became a turning point in how fans viewed Tiger's late career struggles. It wasn't just about injuries anymore. It was about decision-making, about sharpness, about whether the relentless edge that defined his prime had started to dull. Mistakes that once felt unthinkable were now happening on golf's grandest stage. Years later, players still reference the incident in hushed tones. Coaches use it as a cautionary tale. Analysts point to it when discussing how pressure affects even the greatest athletes. Because if Tiger Woods can mentally slip at Augusta, anyone can. And that's why this disqualification still matters. It wasn't just dumb because of the rule he broke. It was dumb because of who broke it, where it happened, and how easily it could have been avoided. Tiger Woods didn't lose the Masters that year because he couldn't compete. He lost it because he outthought himself, trusted his instinct instead of the rule book, and talked himself into one of the most embarrassing moments of his career. In the days that followed, Tiger took full responsibility. He didn't blame Augusta. He didn't blame officials. He admitted the mistake was his. He explained his thinking. He accepted the outcome. But that honesty didn't erase the sting. Golf is a sport where margins are thin and rules are unforgiving. And this moment proved that even the greatest player of all time isn't immune. If anything, Tiger's stature made the fall more dramatic. The expectations were higher, the scrutiny harsher, the disappointment deeper. In a sport obsessed with precision, Tiger's mistake was sloppy. In a tournament built on tradition, it was jarring. And in a legacy defined by control, it was devastating. Tiger Woods would go on to write new chapters, including one of the greatest comeback wins in sports history. But no amount of future glory can erase the fact that, for one moment at Augusta, the most disciplined golfer of all time made the dumbest mistake imaginable. And golf will never forget it. Tiger Woods didn't lose his legacy that day at Augusta, but he lost something just as important: the illusion of perfection. The dumbest disqualification in golf history wasn't about talent or pressure. It was about how even the greatest can outsmart themselves. One small decision, one casual explanation, and an entire tournament slipped away. That's the brutal truth about golf. It doesn't care who you are or what you've won before. At Augusta, the rules don't forget, and neither do the fans. Tiger would rise again, but this moment remains frozen in time. A reminder that greatness isn't just about how you win. Sometimes it's about how you lose.